Now, the Defend Our Democracy movement has launched a national campaign called Election Watch. The aim of the campaign is to observe and also report on the integrity of the upcoming 2024 South African elections. To tell us a little bit more about the campaign, we're now joined via Teams by Defend Our Democracy Executive Director Zaakirah Vadi. Zaakirah, good afternoon and thank you for your time on the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me on air.
Zaakirah, for those who've just tuned in and for context's sake, perhaps you could explain the role of observers and then you could talk to us about the campaign and why you're calling on South Africans to really get involved.
Sure. So election observers basically go out on election day to various voting stations, preferably those in their locality, and basically observe what unfolds. So they're meant to check the entire electoral process. Did the voting station open on time? Were the ballot boxes set up in front of party agents and in front of observers? And how did the day and the proceedings of the day unfold? They are also meant to observe the counting process after people have cast their ballots and after voting stations have closed, and to check basically that the elections were free and fair. This year, we're doing something different. In the past, we had election observers, part of individual organizations going out. This time around, we want to get a number of organizations to collectively observe under the Election Watch campaign banner and therefore collate their results and their observation feedback. And this will be used ultimately to pronounce on the integrity and credibility of the elections from a civil society perspective.
Thank you for that context. Until when is the campaign expected to perhaps start and end, given the election date has been announced? For those who want to get involved, also, how do they begin to do so? Any special training of sorts required?
So the campaign kicked off last year and will continue up until elections, so now the 29th of May. Furthermore, we're looking at just after the election period being a significant time for this campaign, given that all of this analysis needs to be pulled together and we need to basically pronounce on what our findings were. However, we see 2024 is really the start of this campaign. We do think that in 2026 and 2029, both the local government and next national and provincial elections that come up, it will be even more fiercely contested than 2024, and we would need a larger number of observers out on the field. So this is just the start.
Absolutely. And so as we look at the timelines up until the 29th of May, what are you also observing in terms of mobilizing resources? Any concerns at this point as well? I mean, we're looking at the vote and civic education and how important it is, given that our electoral laws are changing. Ballot extensions are also, coming to the fore. And I wonder, what spanning the works that throws for you and the work.
Well, the time frame is very short. We have just under 13 weeks to pull off this campaign. So I suppose that would be one of the concerns that we're looking at. Secondly, I think is that it is a new electoral system that we have this year. So we have 3 ballots rather than 2, and it's going to take quite a lot to explain to voters why there's been this change and what to look out for. We will be setting out a very detailed training schedule, so any organization that would like to participate in this campaign is welcome to join us on Election Watch. There is a registration portal on our website. And similarly, if you're an individual, you are also welcome to join, and we'll link you up with an organization based in your locality. Thereafter, there will be a series of online training sessions, basically what to look out for at voting stations, but also how to use the app that we'll be setting up. And that's to send through live feedback and to collate all of the information that's coming through from the ground at different voting stations.
We're talking about participation. We're talking about playing our part in upholding the democratic ideals. And so given the 27 million registered out of the 43 million who were eligible, how do we begin to ensure that the 27 million come out, make their mark, exercise their right to vote?
That's a collective societal responsibility. So on the one hand, you would have political parties who would go out and urge their voters to come out. But I think from a civil society perspective, it's the responsibility of organizations, of CBOs, faith-based organizations, to make the call for people to come out and make their mark. This is a very important democratic process. It's really the bedrock of a democracy when an election takes place. and it's the start of a process of both electing public representatives and then holding them accountable thereafter. So I think there's going to be a need for collective effort to get people out on election day and ensure that they come out to vote.